Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're doing well. Today you join me as we're going to take a look around another absolute bargain purchase, genuine purchase. Probably no one's going to believe me when I say this, and I know I see lots of you in the comments saying, oh, you've never really bought that for that price. I promise you, from a genuine customer who bought this car, I can't believe it either because I think it's amazing. So we'll get to showing you around that in a minute. It's going to be a bit of a different format because we've got Toby behind the camera today. He's our new videographer. He might insert a picture of himself here or not, but he'll decide on that. So Toby's here. He's going to help us get the quality up a little bit better and help us do more with some of the other members of the team editing videos. So hopefully quality can only go up from here. Now, I'm not going to tell you what the mileage of this car is. Like the previous video, I want you to guess what you think the mileage is. Once we've looked around it, once we've driven it, the earlier you put your guess in, you know, the more invested you are, the more hardcore you are. So let me know what you think. And at the end, I'll let you know exactly what the mileage is. And we'll also run a vehicle score check on this car and see, as an import, how this scores on a scale of 1 to 999. The car in question today is something that I think is really cool, and it's only cost me 500 quid, which I cannot believe. It's a 2003 Nissan Cube. How cool is this? I absolutely love something that's a bit different, and this is up there, isn't it? This is one of those cars I've always seen around and just thought, they look different, they're interesting. Whether you think it's cool or not, or you think it's a bit weird, I think the fact that it's different makes it cool. I did say it was a 2003. It's not, it's a 2004. The reason I thought it was a 2003 is because of this awesome plate. BB03 OXO. Get it? OXO Cube. It kind of says box too, so that's pretty cool. That came with the car as well, which, to be honest, the number plate is probably worth as much as the car, so we are definitely quids in with this. Let's have a look round and see what we've actually got for our 500 quid. First thing that jumps out to me, despite the sunglasses, which I've got to put on because it's so sunny out here, is like this pearlescent paint. It's white, but it's got so much metal flake in here. It's got all different kinds of colours. It looks like it's being wrapped, but it hasn't. It's just a really nice paint. This, cleaned and polished by Jordan, is going to look absolutely banging. We've got what I think are standard Nissan Cube alloy wheels, but it looks like they've been painted this kind of purple colour, and they are filthy. I don't think they've been cleaned in quite a while. And it is on lowering coilovers. I can't remember exactly the name, but maybe when we get into paperwork I can tell you. The guy who sold it to me, who is a police officer, believe it or not, did tell me what his lowering coilovers were on this. They're a pretty good brand. And it's got a few other bits and pieces that just, I don't know, do they add or detract? If you wanted a genuine one, it's probably detracting, but for 500 quid, I think it's pretty cool. We've got what look like genuine Nissan wind deflectors. We've got our roof rack as well. I don't know what they've had on here before, but, you know, quite utilitarian, really. We've got our pillared side of the car. And of course, the thing that stands out on these most of the time is on the other side, you've got that glass that wraps all the way around, which, if you haven't seen one of these before, sorry to disappoint you, but there is actually a pillar in there. It's just glass on the outside. Bit of a disappointment in that, because when you look at it from the inside, it just looks like a normal car. Another highlight is probably the fact that we've got Dice air valve covers. I'm probably going to have to whip those off because they are aluminium and they quite often corrode to your valves. So the only way to get them off is to cut the whole valve off, which is a bit of a pain in the bum, to be honest. Obviously, we got tinted glass on the back as well. I think it's genuine privacy glass, I should say. And on the whole, the car's in pretty good condition. There are a few things you're going to see, like a couple of little bits of rust. There's a little ding back here. But on the whole, I still think it looks really good. It actually still looks quite modern, I think, especially from the front. It's got a very Japanese, obviously, look, but I just think it looks pretty cool. The headlights aren't too bad, but I think you could really get them polished up. Jordan could do a job on those, make them look 10 times better, which would probably just make this car look about 10 years newer. A good polish all over it as well, and really bring out that kind of pearlescent paint and get rid of some of these swirl marks. It's going to be looking awesome. It's a shame we have got a few sort of stone chips up here that have started to get rusty, but again, maybe it'd be worth fixing those little bits. But I'm pretty sure we could even just do a better DIY job of touching those in. But honestly, I think it gets even cooler inside, so let's have a look in there. So our key, which looks like it's for your garage or your shed, this is our genuine Nissan key. It is laser engraved on there. and we have this weird little thing, which is actually for our immobilizer. If we lost this, we wouldn't be able to start this car whatsoever. So we have a couple of keys, but we only have one of these immobilizer tags, so this has to be protected at all costs. I don't even know actually if the central locking works, because the people who sold it to us just said they don't bother locking it. But it does sound like it does work. Check it out in here. We've got this bench seat across the front. It's the same in the front as it is in the back. We've got this like whole bench seat, which actually does this. Oh my God, so you've got loads of storage space in here. There's like a lower storage arm, and then the middle bench also folds down to make an armrest. But there's even more storage. Typically Japanese, storage everywhere, and just cool little features that you wouldn't really expect. First thing that jumped out to me when I first saw these, this is being like an automatic, a CVT version, is your gear shifter on the stalk, on the steering column, I should say. So you kind of like pull this down to change gears. It feels like super American. Obviously it's not, it's Japanese, but you know, you see in the movies when they get in their cars and they put it into gear. So that's pretty cool. I don't know what our Jaguar kind of paperclip thing is about here. Maybe you can hold notes or whatever. That's obviously not factory. I think it's meant to be Jaguar. I keep saying to everyone else, is it meant to be something to do with like Power Rangers or something? But I don't think so. We've got a Pioneer head unit, which I don't know if that's standard or not. I quite often see things in here like a Pioneer or a JVC head unit. And I say, obviously they had an aftermarket head unit, but that might be what these came with originally. I'm not a Cube expert, to be honest, but we've got CD and Bluetooth and whatever. So in fact, looking at it, considering we got Bluetooth, I don't think this could have been factory. We do have air conditioning, although at the moment it doesn't work, which is why you'll see me sweating in here. We need to get the windows open, really. And we've got 2 glove boxes, complete with some little bits like some touch-up paints and bulbs, and you've got another glove box up the top. And what I think is the coolest thing that I found in this car so far, which I don't even know if it's 100% legal in the UK, and you know, maybe ironic that it's come from a police officer, is the road flare, the Japanese road flare. So you can kind of like take the lid off this, fire it up and have like a flare going like it was an American Japanese car burning in the road. I think technically this is probably breaking some kind of firearms law, so I'll figure that out and we'll get that sorted before the video, so don't call the police on me. A lot of those tend to get taken out of the cars when they get imported, I think because of legal reasons or whatever. But this one's made it here, which is quite cool to see. It might be empty for all I know, it might be full of AA batteries, but it's still nice to see the original like one in there. I think you can get LED versions now just to kind of fill that gap, but we've got ours, so that's pretty cool. Even in the back, it's got a surprising amount of space. It's a small, like tiny car, but I guess the fact that it is literally a cube gives you quite a lot of space, because I'm near enough 6 foot, but still got absolutely loads of headroom, loads of leg room as well. So you could definitely get 2 adults comfortably in here, and it is a bench. I think there might actually only be seating for 2 in the back, technically, because it looks like we have only got 2 seat belts. So I guess this is a 4-seat car, but you know, you could physically fit people in there, I think. Then we've got our massive barn door on the back, which again gives you like a really decent boot. Look at the size of that. We seem to have inherited some stuff in a shopping bag in the back of here, which is like some straps and an umbrella. I think Toby could use one of these for his cameras because it's getting hot out here. Trust me, it is hot. We've got a nice rubber floor protector, and do we get a spare wheel in here? Yeah, we do. Check that out, Toby. Look how tiny that little spare wheel is. Looks like it's come off like a blooming wheelbarrow or something. So there's a couple of things with this car that we already know why the guy sold it to us and why he wanted it to go cheap. A, they've bought a really nice Porsche Cayenne off of us, and they're going to use that as their main car between the 2 of them. This was just taking out space in the driveway. Not a lot of space, obviously, but some of it. They know that this has got a blowing exhaust, and he doesn't think it's going to pass his MOT. I don't know why. We will find out, but we'll get under the bonnet, check everything under there, we'll fire it up, and then we'll take it out on the road and see how it drives. All right, so that goes in there like that. So we've got a little 1.4 engine in here, which actually looks like quite a modern unit. Check the oil, if I can. Jesus. Oh my God. I can't actually get the oil cap off. I don't know if that's a good sign or bad. They might have glued it on. Oh my God, honestly can't do that. We have to get tools. Right. Well, it did take some water pump pliers, but finally got the oil cap off. And all looks pretty good under there. A bit gunky and sort of full of crap, but not head gaskety type crap. Doesn't look like there's any water in there, so that's good. I think this actually is reasonably warm, so everything looks all right. There's nothing really jumping out. There's no major oil leaks or anything. So yeah, quite happy with that. We'll fire it up and then we'll take it out for a spin. Right, so to start this thing with our little key fob, you've got to put it into this little slot in here, which, if you're not careful, does come out of the dashboard. So I think you just got to sort of pop it in there, and that kind of like primes it, lets it know that you're not a thief. And there we go. You can probably hear that blowing exhaust. That's just extra performance coming out. Sounds like chain, doesn't it? But I don't think it is. I think we can hear like a bit of a heat shield rattling or whatever. Now that I've got it fired out, I can see exactly what the mileage is in front of me, but I'm not going to tell you that. You've still got to guess. I'll tell you at the end after we've driven it and we see how this drives to see whether you can guess, you know, what the mileage is. Right, so let's head out on the road and see how it drives. I don't know how you adjust. Oh, maybe. Oh, okay. You can adjust the seat. I was concerned for a minute. It seems to constantly be telling us that we've got a door open, but I don't think we do. Oh, that's wipers. Japanese, see the indicators on the other side. Oh. Not the smoothest of automatic gearboxes. It's making some very weird noises. Tell you what, these like massively oversized wind deflectors with our Spider in it actually work quite well at keeping the wind out of the cab. I forgot I had the window open. It definitely gets looks off of people. I had quite a few looks from the bus there. Here we go. Are you ready for the power, Toby? Oh! Look at it go! 40 miles an hour. Well, it's certainly not quick, but it's surprisingly comfortable actually, quite easy to drive. It's quite wallowy, but what do you expect from a literal cube? You got pretty much zero feel through the steering, and it feels like it might understeer at every opportunity. And whatever that noise that's coming from the engine is actually quite loud. It's almost a bit concerning. Sounds like, hopefully it's just a heat shield and not a timing chain rattling away or something. It's actually surprisingly slow. Dan has decided that he probably wants to buy this now and get rid of his Daihatsu Move. This is his new latest love. He's seen this. He's already told me he wants to buy this, so I've already got a buyer. I think he's going to be surprised that this is actually slower than the Daihatsu Move. Well, that's 60, finally. It just feels easy to drive. It's just really comfortable. It'd be interesting to see what one of these was like without lowering coilovers on it, because it must be even more comfortable, but also even more wallowy. So I don't know. I'm quite happy with my £500 purchase so far. This is the real twisty bit. We'll see if Toby can hang on here. We really put this performance machine to the test. I think actually when you come to terms with the fact that you're just not going to feel whether it's connected to the road or not, it does actually hold the corners quite well. It just feels like it's a separate thing that's happening completely away from what you're doing. One thing we have got to remember with this is if we need to do a few things for an MOT with this exhaust that's blowing, etc., is that parts aren't the easiest to come by for this sort of thing. This being an import, I don't even know if they made these in this country originally, so parts can be tricky, and you not tend to find like a specialist Japanese breakers, and they're not the cheapest. So it'd be interesting to find out how much an exhaust will be this, if we can't fix it, that is. I suppose in comparison to Dan's Daihatsu, this does feel a lot more luxurious. The fact that it's got air conditioning, alright, it's not working currently, but I'm sure we can get that fixed, which his doesn't have. And I do like that you've got complete through the middle loading, there's nothing there at all. We've hit traffic lights and I want to turn around anyway, so this is the perfect opportunity to test its turning circle. Oh, if I can remember how to put it into different gears. There we go. Oh, rip the bumper off. Dan won't be happy. Oh no, we got an angry van driver. Sorry about that, you were just stopped a minute ago. Good news in an awkward situation like that where you've just stopped oncoming traffic, at least you've got the power to really do nothing. This does have like a manual gear 1 and 2, which I'm tempted to try. That's 2. Don't think that made any difference whatsoever. Test the sound system. We've got our classic tuned in. Well, the speakers work. Okay, back in the office, and I forgot about looking at all the paperwork. We actually don't have a great deal. We've got quite a lot of old MOTs. We've got our V5, luckily. We have got a service book, which only has a couple of stamps in it, and the same jobs we have little slips for, so just a couple of services in there. Probably would have had some done in Japan before it was imported, but we don't have those, but you know, we're gonna have to do a full service anyway. We do have a cube/cubic owner's manual though. I don't think this is necessarily original. I think this looks like the sort of thing that you can buy on eBay as a, you know, a reproduction, but it is like Japanese manuals in English. So that's what we've got in the way of paperwork, and one more like shed key, but we don't have another immobilizer fob. I don't know how easy it'd be to get one of those. Not sure if it's too bad actually, but we could look into that. If you haven't guessed the mileage by now, this is your last chance to do it, because I'm going to tell you that the mileage on this car is 168,650-ish. It might have changed now, we've driven it, but it's around that sort of thing. So it's definitely up there in the mileage. I wonder if it would have been originally kilometers or not. I don't know. But it's been MOT'd throughout the years. And yeah, the mileage is up there, which is, I think is actually drives surprisingly well for a car with that high mileage. And as I said earlier, today's video sponsor is Vehicle Score. Now, if you go to vehiclescore.co.uk, you can enter the details of your car or a car you're interested in buying and get a score from 1 to 999, which tells you how well that car's being looked after. You don't have to pay and you don't have to log in. If you want to do a further HBI check, check the history of that car, check a salvage reports, they're super cheap. They range from about £3 to about £9. And comprehensive check you can do that as well. And if you use our code shiftingmetal15, you'll get 15% off as well. So make sure you check that out. That will be in the description. If I go here and input our car, I wonder how good ours is going to be. I'm not feeling that optimistic. So we've got 261 out of 999. Not great, it tells us. So it goes through and it checks everything from mileage discrepancy, MOT comments, which is pretty good because there's not been loads on there. It's knocked it down a lot because it's got high mileage. From there, you can go on and do your 2 checks, which are either 897 or 297. It goes through, tells you all the yearly MOT mileage it's done, tells you values. Just as an example, if you did use one of their vehicle checks, when purchasing a car, it might flag up things like it's a certificate of destruction, the car's been scrapped. It would tell you if that car should not be on the road, whether it's got outstanding finance, whether it's been an insurance write-off, whether it's got a mileage anomaly, whether it's a high-risk vehicle, something that the police might be on the lookout for, whether it's had colour changes, plate changes, whether it's been a salvage record, whether it's been stolen, whether it's been ex-taxi, scrapped, imported, exported, it's had a super high amount of owners or anything like that, and it gives you that nice, easy to understand score. So make sure you check out vehiclescore.co.uk, use the code shiftingmetal15, you will get a discount and it helps the channel out. Like I say, on the whole, I'm really happy with the Cube. I think we need to get on the ramp, check it out, find out what kind of price me and Dan want to come to on this thing if he really does want it. But we need to figure out first what's wrong with it. It wouldn't be fair for me to turn around and sell it to him for a load of money. So we'll check that out and maybe you will see it in a future video. If you have enjoyed the video, please make sure you give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and even TikTok now. So make sure you check those out. And other than that, we'll see you in the next video.